My name is Stephen X. Davis. I am a freelance writer, copy editor, and a math tutor. I did grow up in Leavenworth, Kansas, which is not too far from here, the Republican stronghold. My parents actually live in Steve Fitzgerald's district, and I think we would all be thrilled to see him out of office. I know they're not voting for him. I made him promise. So I have a degree in mathematics from the University of St. Mary there in Leavenworth, and I've lived in Lawrence for the past 3 or 4 years. I would say to you that people are paying attention to politics this year because it's not working. And people, unfortunately, as I'm sure most of you know, only pay attention to politics when it's not working. People who in 2012 said, well, there's no real difference between the candidates, aren't going to say that this year. I feel like they know that Donald Trump is a uniquely horrible candidate. Most of them know that. But unfortunately, what you will encounter this year is not optimism, it will be cynicism. And it's very easy to be cynical when the system is not working the way it is. When there is a sincere threat from the Republican Party to shut down our schools, to simply wash their hands of it and walk away. When we have roads that we have exhausted the amount of money we can take out. There is a reason they won't be drawing anything else from the Bank of KDOT because they took all they could before July. So you will not hear that as a solution proposed because it's impossible. And I would encourage you all to think about why the system is broken. We are not talking about people who are inherently evil. I think that is something that, well, maybe Trump, but the rest of them are bought. I mean, I don't feel like that is a stretch to say that they are essentially bought and paid for on behalf of special interests. The LLC exemption that says if you own a limited liability corporation, that is an average benefit of about $190 for someone that owns a business. To the Koch brothers, it's hundreds of millions. And we know that. So anyone that is talking about small businesses is lying. You know that they're talking about something that is a minimum amount when it comes to the taxes of those businesses. And I also believe that the voter registration issue is huge. They know that they are losing ground. They're losing numbers very rapidly. And one way to prevent that is to specifically attack young voters, to attack voters who may have a more difficult time registering. And they have done that with this so-called SAFE Act. And what we have seen in the past 2 weeks, actually, is a reversal of that. The federal court said, okay, well, if you registered to vote at the Department of Motor Vehicles in the state of Kansas, you get to vote. There's no gotcha. And Chris Kobach has tried his damnedest and will continue to do so to prevent that from happening. But fortunately, we have courts that protect us from this. And the courts are another attack that they are waging. This year, you will hear a lot about the retention election of 5 of our Supreme Court justices, who they accuse of playing politics with schools. They may not quite understand how courts work. In fact, I'm almost sure they do not. And that is going to be a key issue as well. They are going to try next week to prevent any kind of school closure from happening again, or preventing the courts from having any kind of authority to enforce their rulings. And the final thing that I would be concerned about is the rules of the House itself, or the internal structure. We have seen remarkable abuses by the Speaker of the House and the other leadership of the Republican conference. And they tend to attack individual legislators, and I think that is something that we can stand up to. I think that even the Republicans are frustrated with this when committee leaderships are determined by the Speaker of the House essentially kind of waving his hand and saying, well, you disagreed with me, so you're out. And that is what we saw. I feel like a more democratic process should be in place. And with the retirement of the running away, I should say, of their leadership, I think that would give us ample opportunity to do so. But it's not all bad. I know that you will hear lots of doom and gloom this year. We have accomplished wonderful things in the State House, and we have nowhere to go but up. And this year, most important election ever, you will hear people say that who don't pay attention to politics. And that is truly remarkable because everyone in this room is active in politics. David Berkowitz has been doing this for years. But most of the people in those years didn't think about politics. And this is our chance to say, the system's not working. We know why. We can fix it. And that's what I intend to do this fall. So thank you all for paying attention to me.